What up, y'all? It is Wednesday. Yes, May 21st, and I am coming to you with another book review. So I am like totally riding the reading wave here because, like I said, I've been having like these moments where I kind of struggled and wasn't really reading, but lately, I've just picked up some reading momentum, and I'm super, super excited about it. So I finished Henrietta Lacks, and then I finished The Alchemist, and then I told you guys I was going to read Eleanor in Park, which is right here. I got it from the local library. It's by Rainbow Rowell, and I started this book Saturday morning, and I finished it yesterday during the day. So that's how good it was. It's an excellent book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Only because I didn't like the ending. Like, seriously, it was such a good book, and then the ending kind of made me mad. And so I don't want to ever do reviews that have any spoilers in it, so that's just not my thing. But I didn't really agree with the decision of the female protagonist and the way she kind of handled things at the end. And I mean, I understood it, but I just didn't agree with it, and I didn't like it, so that kind of ruined the ending for me. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. But the book as a whole was wonderful. It made me cry. It was very touching, very sweet. Even though it was a book about teenagers and about teenage romance, I think it's very transferable to an adult reader. Because I'm not super big into YA. I don't read a lot of YA. I've been reading a lot more lately from being on BookTube and watching all these reviews and stuff of these books. But I'm not primarily a YA reader because honestly I feel like I'm a grown-ass woman, and why am I reading about a bunch of teenage kids? Like, that's usually the way I feel about it. I'm like, I'm grown. Like, I don't go through all this stuff. I want to read about things that kind of relate to me, you know, as an adult, a mom, a wife, you know, and not read all these, you know, kind of childish things. But this book was very unique in that even though they were two teenagers, and the way their relationship was a very child-teen relationship, but it still felt, I think sometimes we forget, especially when we have kids and we have teenagers and stuff like that, and, you know, they're going through you know, the boyfriend thing or whatever, you know, and we kind of say, oh, like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You guys don't know what you're feeling. It's not real, you know, whatever. But I think sometimes that we forget what it was like when we were teenagers and, you know, you had your boyfriend or you had, you know, someone that you were in love with, and it was very real to you. And sometimes those feelings are very, very real because there are stories of people that have been together since high school and they grow up and they get married and they stay together. So, you know, obviously what those people felt were very real feelings. And so I think it did a very good job of kind of reminding me or like taking me back to being a 16-year-old girl and having this guy that you're super into and that you love and you know, and him loving you back. And it kind of took me back to that place as a, you know, it kind of reminded me what it was like to be a 16-year-old girl again. And then I loved how awkward and quirky they were because I was a very awkward and quirky teenage girl. And so, I really liked that awkwardness and that quirkiness. I liked that it wasn't a super sappy kind of romance. It wasn't one of those cheesy, you know, novels. And what I liked about it, it reminded me a lot of The Fault in Our Stars in the sense of that teenage romance, but not the normal kind. You know, one that's more real. You know, you don't have these like two people that are, you know, have these like lovely families and, you know, they're, you know, affluent and whatever. And, you know, it's, oh, we love each other. You know, it's like these real kids with real issues. What I liked about this book that I didn't like about The Fault in Our Stars, but The Fault in Our Stars is a little angsty. And a little, I don't know, it just was a little too teenage angsty for me, and it was a little cynical. Whereas this one, I felt like it was just very fresh and just very sweet and tender. And I fell in love with Park. I really did. So I was like, I want me a half Korean, you know, 17-year-old in my life. Not really, but because I'm not a pedophile. But I'm just saying, like, you know, I like totally fell in love with Park, and I think he was probably my favorite character in the whole book, even more so than Eleanor. Eleanor honestly kind of got on my nerves a little bit if I really stop and think about it, but I really, really, really liked Park, and I really liked Park's family. It was just a really good book. Like, it's definitely a book. I got it from the library, but it's definitely a book that I'm going to buy. I could totally see myself reading it again. There was just so many parts of the book where I was just like, like my 32-year-old heart was just like, oh my gosh, like, you know. And there's just something about someone who loves the weird in you, you know, and loves your weirdness and loves that you don't fit in and you stand out and, you know, you're fat and you've got big crazy hair. I mean, there's just all these things, you know, that there's just something about someone who like looks at the whole picture and they love it. And they're not concerned that it doesn't, you know, fit in to, you know, the societal mold. So that's something that's, you know, near and dear to my heart. So anyways, I thought it was a really, really good book. I would definitely encourage it. It's a very good, to me, I think it's a very good beginner read. So if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily read a lot, or you want to get into reading, but you're kind of, you know, you're a little overwhelmed, this was a very good beginner read to me. This, like, I have a friend who was like, I really want to start reading some more, and I kept telling her, I'm like, when I find a book that I think you'll like, I'll make sure to, you know, recommend it to you. And I hadn't really found anything, and, you know, and then I read this and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you need to read this. Like, I was like, I think you'd really like it. So, this is definitely a very good beginner read. And I just really liked it. I thought it was a good read for teens. It has some foul language in it, so if you don't want, like, your teenage children reading books with foul language in it, you might want to stay away from this one, but it wasn't horrible. It was contextual. So it wasn't like they were just throwing some F-bombs in there for F-bomb's sake. And it was just a really good book. So I loved it. Like I said, 4 out of 5 stars. And now I'm like waiting for the movie to come out, because I'm going to be like, who are you picking for an actress? Who are you picking for an actor? Like, I believe they're going into production next year. So I'll be looking forward to that. But it was an excellent book, so pick it up if you guys can. It's really, really good. And it definitely made me want to read more Rainbow Rowell, because I really like her writing style. It's very unpretentious and sweet and real, and quirky. And I like quirky, so it was good. I loved it. Loved it. Excellent book. Eleanor in Park by Rainbow Rowell. Pick it up. It's the bomb. And then I'm just going to talk about a couple of things real quick. Number one, what the book am I reading next? So this book actually is kind of funny, because I totally experienced book hangover with this book. Like, when I was done, like, I was just like, ugh. Like, I had total book hangover, so I did not know what I wanted to read. And I was like, well, I should read a classic, because I've been reading a lot of contemporary literature lately, and I primarily read classics, but I just could not think of a classic that I wanted to read. And then I was like, well, I want to kind of read something scary, but I was just like, I don't know, whatever. And so I was like, well, let me just go look at my shelf and just see what it is that I want to pick up. And so I bought this book at my kids' book fair. It's called Zorga Mizzou, by Robert Paul Weston. And I picked this book up, and the entire book rhymes. This book is like Dr. Seuss meets Shel Silverstein meets Tim Burton. It is really, really, really dark and kind of creepy and really cool. And I picked it up and I was like, oh, I'll read this, you know, because I was really excited about this book, because the whole book rhymed, and I love rhyming. And so I picked it up and was like, let me just read it. And so the first couple of pages, I was like, okay, the rhyming's kind of getting on my nerves. But once it picked up steam and the story kind of rolled on, oh my gosh. I was in bed last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning reading this book. A children's book, okay? And I was in bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, like turning the pages, like reading fast, like trying to get to what happens next. It's really good. So I love this book. I'm really glad that I picked it up and started reading it, because it's a cute read. It's really fun. Something very light, but it's kind of creepy and kind of dark, and the rhyming is awesome. And so, yeah, so I will definitely do a review on this one when I get it, because I love seeing reviews on children's books, because I think sometimes as parents we don't really know what to get our kids. So I really do want this channel to have a lot of reviews of children's books and say, hey, you know, this is a good kid's book. You know, because I'm very passionate about childhood reading. So, anyways, so yeah, Zorga Mizzou is excellent. So I would definitely say if you have middle schoolers, or maybe not even middle school, so it's a little childish for middle schools, although they might like it because it's kind of whimsical. But I would definitely say like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, like around that time, it's an excellent book for that kind of, that, you know, demographic of kids. I think they would really, really get a kick out of it, and all the rhyming and stuff makes it an easy read because, you know, they know that at the end it's going to rhyme and stuff, and it has, like, pictures in it, and it's really quirky, and it's a really, really cool book. So, I would definitely recommend it. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I know my video is super long, but I have not done a knitting update yet. And I have been knitting. Actually, you know what? I'll move that to another video. So, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you stayed here for the whole 10 minutes, you are awesome. You rock. Have a great week. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces. Bye.